This is a one-speaker meeting. Please welcome our speaker tonight is Sandy Kay.
My name is Sandy. I'm an alcoholic. And I want to welcome all the newcomers. I want to thank Michelle for asking me to speak here tonight. I've heard a lot of people get up to the podium and say they were born alcoholics. I do not believe I was born an alcoholic. I was born right here in downtown Los Angeles, probably reason enough to become an alcoholic. I come from a fairly normal family. I have a mother, a sister. They're both habitual neurotics. My dad was very passive and mellow. I have a niece who was on the program for almost 20 years and went out, and then me. And I was just a rotten little kid, and I didn't like anything. You know, I mean, I hated school. I hated to do anything. I remember my dad, he used to say a shot in the morning and a shot before dinner was healthy. And I was probably between, 5 and 7 years old, and I saw this little glass sitting on the counter with some brown stuff in it. And I picked it up and drank it. And I didn't have another drink after that until I was in high school. It just completely knocked me out. They found me in back of the couch, just out. I don't think I was drunk, but I was out. And like I said, I did not do well in school at all. I couldn't sit still. I just could not stand being there. The only thing that probably saved me was recess and the 3 o'clock bell. That was it. And they had after school sports, and that probably kept me in good stead, just staying at school. Otherwise, I would have never made it. And I took advantage of that. I love playing baseball. I love playing kickball. And I even liked playing hopscotch. Anything that had to do with, anything that had to do with some kind of sports, I liked. I didn't care what it was. And like I said, I didn't have another drink till I got into high school. Today the kids are drinking at 11, 12, 13 years old. I drank. My next drink was probably for the dumbest reason that any guy could drink over, a girl. And I remember telling a friend of mine that if this girl likes him over me, I'm going to drink this fifth of Early Times Kentucky Bourbon whiskey. And sure enough, damn, she liked him. And I chugged this. I didn't eat all day, and I chugged this whole bottle down. I got about 3/4 of it down, and to this day, I've never been that sick. I mean, I was crying. I pee-peed in my pants. I poo-pooed in my pants. And then my friends took me and dropped me off at my parents' door and, did the old runaway. And, that was the first sight of, of being drunk, But, like after that, I really tried to drink. I wanted to drink, I really didn't get anything out of that because it just knocked me out. But every time I tried to drink, the second I smelled it, I just started to gag. Now, I am a product of the 60s, and I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, without it, I'd be under the ground right now, or in ashes, one of the two. But all my friends were smoking pot and Now, to this day, I have never even taken a puff of a cigarette. And, like then, it had nothing to do with health reasons. I just never liked the smell of it. So I just didn't do it. It's the same thing with food. If I don't like the smell of it, I'm not going to eat it. So, but I was really, really curious about this marijuana stuff. So I took a whole bunch and I put it on a piece of bread. And then I took another piece of bread with jelly and I woofed this sandwich down. And within 5 minutes, it just came back up. It just would not stay down. And now I knew this was not my cup of tea. I knew this was not me. But I was playing baseball right over here at Hamilton High, and I grew up actually pretty much in Venice, and so we had a great team. We had a lot of players on there. I remember a scout came up to me, a college guy, and he said, if you raise your grades, you can get a scholarship. And that sounded interesting to me, and so I did. I started hitting the books, and I got a scholarship. And now I had a few different offers, but Sandy wanted to go where things were happening. So I went to the University of California at Berkeley. I got there in winter 1964, and I played baseball and sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and it was live there. Everything was just chaotic. It was the most fun I have ever had, ever. And I remember just going over into the city. We'd go to the Fillmore, we'd go to Wonderland. They'd give you apples and oranges at the door, and they were laced with acid. And at one point, acid was still legal, so it was a lot of fun. And I had a great time. It was the times. It was the best times around. And I was up there for almost 5 years, and I came home. My sister asked me, I was looking for a job, and she wanted to get me a job, so she knew a guy who was looking for a delivery guy, and I said, yeah, I'll do it, And it was a delivery job for a pharmacist. And so I went into there, and he hired me, and then I don't know what, but he asked me, he said, would you like to be a pharmacist assistant? And sounds like an interesting title. So I said, yes, I would love to be a pharmacist assistant. And he gave me the PDR to take home and study. And I have read a lot of books. Nothing more colorful than this. And I learned everything, and I took it to heart. I learned what was good, what was bad, what put you where you wanted to be, what didn't. And I became a salesman. And but things were still crazy. I was still, my dad, he ran a beer distributor, and I used to be a truck driver's helper. I didn't drive the truck, but I helped the truck driver. And the beer distributor had Schlitz, Rainier Ale, Coors, and a beer called Brew 102. And So, you know, my parents were not alcoholic, but there was always beer in our house. And, you know, I would just, you know, I didn't drink a lot, but I drank. You know, I was thinking, like today, I even asked a friend to tell a story because I couldn't think of the guy's name, but I remember the police were always after him, you know. And he was a heroin addict, and he was a comedian, and he you know, the police broke into his house, and, you know, he had a little jar sitting on his counter. And they asked him, "What is this?" And he said, "They're aspirins." And they said, "Well, what's the syringe for?" And he said, "I don't like the taste." You know? And I did the same thing, you know. I did not like the taste. So I just shot the stuff. You know, I take a cc of scotch and shoot it. I take vodka and shoot it. And, you know, it would get you drunk, but you stunk. Because it would come right out of your pores. I mean, it was horrible. And, you know, so, I mean, I really started doing a lot of drugs. I mean, when I was living in Venice, the drug of choice was speed, and I really, really liked the speed. It was, how do you want to say, it was pure crystal, and it was really good. And then there were doctors at this time. I remember we had a doctor down here in Venice. I don't know people around here, but his name was Dr. Rose, and we used to go into his, he used to have a class, and we would go to this class, and he'd talk about your hands or your feet or your legs, and then he'd make us run a mile down at the beach. And then according to how you came in, that's how he would write you your prescriptions. You know. So this way nobody would, you know, if you came in first, you were the first one to get a prescription. And I used to come in all the time around third, but, you know, and he had everybody in Venice just hooked. I mean, like dogs. And, you know, he was an interesting character. And, you know, I just really, I couldn't get out of my thought process was like, what am I doing? I mean, why am I doing this? And, you know, I could never figure out that I had the ism, you know, because, you know, my life was pretty normal. I mean, and I thought it was. You know, I started dealing a lot, and, you know, I never dealt to anybody I didn't know, and then I got a little careless. And, you know, before I know it, you know, I'm in that revolving door, you know, I'm busted. I'm on my way to a state penitentiary, and guys like me just don't belong in state penitentiary. You know, it's not the greatest place in the world. And, but, you know, I was there in and out for 7.5 years, and, you know, I had a lot of friends in there with me. So, you know, it worked out fine. You know, I just, you know, I mean, if I wasn't there, I'd be dead. You know, it was like, to me, it was like, I'd get busted, it was like a vacation. I could go there, get healthy, come out, and do what I needed to do, run again. You know, all I had to do was, you know, get paroled and go down to Venice, and, you know, all the friends I had, you know, were so happy to see me that they would, you know, get me loaded, and I could never report to my parole officer. And, you know, I have been through alcohol and drug rehabs. You know, I went through Camarillo Family Program. I went through Tarzana Psychiatric. I went to Norwalk Psychiatric. Every one of them are great. They all work. Every one of them work. While I was inside that place, they all worked. You know, but they never taught me, once I got out of there, how to stay sober. I mean, when I got on the streets, I was a dead duck because I didn't know any better. They didn't take me to any meetings. They didn't take me nowhere. You know, we just all talked in there and knew we were all messed up. So, you know, I got out, immediately got high. Next thing I know, I'm back in custody again. My parole officer was really getting sick of me, and you know, he used to test me. You know, he'd call me up and he would just tell me, "Come on in for a test." You know, no ifs, ands, or buts. And I had a friend living upstairs, and I had this little oil bottle about this big with a stem on it. And he would give me his urine, and I would take it into the office, and the guy would stand right over me, but he could never see what I was doing. And I would just squeeze that clean urine into that bottle, and I did it for a good couple years. And the bottle, when it was all empty, and the air would go back in it, it would go. And he's standing right over me, you know. And he could never pick up what I was doing. And this is once a month, and a noise like that you hear. But and then all of a sudden he calls me back a week later, and I'm furious with him. I'm like, "What? I just was in here." He goes, "I know. Don't worry. The test was clean. He just wanted to know why I was pregnant." And the guy happened to give me his wife's urine, and he immediately, hooked me up. And, you know, I was, you know, back in custody. The only thing that saved me was he was tired of warehousing me. And he said he knew of a program that might help, and it was in the Valley in Burbank called Cry Help. And the difference with Cry Help and all the other programs, Cry Help took me to meetings. And I got to see how everybody was going to meetings and staying sober. You know, nobody was using. They were all like, you know, I mean, I couldn't believe it. You know, like, I'd go to a meeting, everybody's sober. And so, you know, I had a good sponsor in the beginning. Actually, my first sponsor was Danny T, and I had him for about 9 months, my first 9 months, and then I had another really good sponsor named Nolan, and but Nolan could not handle me, and he dropped me off at this Wednesday night meeting over here at actually up there on Sunset, and you know, somebody went up to me and said, "This guy's your sponsor," you know, and this was this guy Don Newcomb, and you know, I had him for about 11 years, and you know, like, my problem, like, I'm an alcoholic. I definitely have the ism, you know. Drugs just happened to be there for me. But he said he didn't use drugs, but he said, let's do it. Let's work it out. And, you know, it worked. You know, I mean, I did whatever he told me. He told me to jump, I jumped. He told me to jump on my head, I jumped on my head. You know, I just didn't care anymore. You know, I had given up. It just got so old and monotonous that, you know, I could not deal with, you know, the funny part about the drugs really didn't tire me out. What tired me out was trying to figure out where the drugs were going to come from every single morning when I woke up. I had not a clue what my plan was to get what I needed and when I needed it or anything. You know, it wore me out and wore my brain out. So, I started going to meetings. I went to 7 meetings. I got commitments. There's a few guys in this room here who know me like a book. I play silver softball with them. My life has changed. I've been married 3 times on the program. And, my first wife, my second wife, her and I have a really good relationship. We have twins together, and the kids are great, and so that keeps us. How do you say? That keeps us, friendly. So, and we are friendly. I mean, we're so friendly that at one point my sponsor had passed away, and I was kind of like, people die. It doesn't affect me. I don't really have a lot of emotion. But when my sponsor died, it just threw me for a loop. And so I went sponsorless for about 4 months, maybe 5 months. Maybe longer, I don't know. But, I called up my ex and I said I wanted her husband to sponsor me. So, I got him as a sponsor. And it worked out, it worked out pretty good for maybe a couple years. And, then it just got to a point where, he was getting caught up in the middle and it just wasn't right. So, I got another sponsor. I got another wife, and she's here. And we have a great life. She has a younger daughter who's expecting this month. She has an older daughter, just got married. My kids just started high school. It's like I've heard the guys that were taking cakes. Without the program. I'm a dead duck. That's it. The only thing that I'm saying that saved my life was probably winding up in jail. Otherwise I'd have been dead. I'd have never made it. I could have never survived on the streets, the way I was going. I don't want to run over, but, I didn't have really have much time, but, I just know if you're new, you get a sponsor, just, you do what they tell you to do, you get commitments, I'm terrible with that, I had, when I was new, I had commitments, and now I have one commitment, and it's a 5-hour commitment, and, I still go to the Pacific Group meetings, I go to Wednesday night, it's a fiasco there. It's just, I don't want to talk bad about them. They saved my life. I'm grateful to them because they did save my life. And there's a couple guys here that I have a parking lot commitment with, and we're there like at 4 o'clock until 7:30, letting people bitch and moan at us because they want to park here and they can't park there, and AA people, you know how they are. But and Michelle and I have become very good friends. We bowl together. She beats me more than I beat her, but we have a great time. My wife bowls with us on Tuesday nights, and it's fun. My life is great. I'm in my 28th year. So, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm a firm believer in today. You know, I'm a firm believer. I got today, and you know, and that's, if I start thinking about, you know, the time I have, you know, I love knowing the fact that I'm sober today, and that's what counts, you know. And then I don't even think about tomorrow until it comes in the morning. But you know, I want to thank Michelle. I want to thank all of you for listening. I hope I did not offend anybody, because when I get asked to speak at AA meetings, I just start to I get very, very nervous and uptight that I'm going to offend somebody, because I know it's Alcoholics Anonymous, but you know, I was taught never to say no to anything, and I pretty much don't say no, but I'm not going to stand up here and change my story just to accommodate somebody. But you know, I am an alcoholic, and thank you for my life.